Midlife Crisis Journal Day 57. So, I guess today will be a tip video. So I have, one of the things that triggered my midlife crisis was health stuff. So I'm 37 and a half now. And it was interesting. I guess it could have been triggered back when I was 35. When I was 35, I had two health things pop up. One, I had a basal cell carcinoma on my forehead. So I got lighter skin, if you didn't notice. And what I did was, it was like a scab that wouldn't go away. So I went to a dermatologist. Instead of having surgery, I had this removed. I did the thing where you do, like, it's called IGSRT. It's like they put like a radiation thing on it. You go like 20 times and then it goes away that way. As a result, I don't have any scar, but it still looks a little weird there because I got, looks like a coin on my forehead still. It's only been about 2 years. But yeah, so I had that happen. So I had the C word because the basal cell carcinoma is technically skin cancer, even though you have to be really, really bad with it and not notice it for it to like kill you. I also had to retire from company softball because I had a really bad herniated disc from what I've been doing was basically having like questionable posture, ergonomics at my desk job all day, and then I would go swing a softball bat, and sometimes I would swing too hard. I woke up one morning at like 4 a.m. I was making a bottle for my, at the time, like 3 or 4 month old, and I couldn't feel my left index finger. I also had like back pain and stuff. And what it was is the herniated disc was, pushing on nerves and stuff. And that, I had back pain flares for about a year. I talked about getting like fused discs and stuff, but thankfully it started healing. I went to PT like 6 times. Traction pillow helped with that a lot. It really just came down to trying to decompress the spine and stretch the muscles there because my left lat had gotten weak and tight and stuff, and it was like a vicious cycle. But what triggered probably this time, I don't know, it's tough because my wife has been going through a lot of health anxiety stuff, and I kind of had this weird thing of like, well, wouldn't it be ironic if I were the one to have a health thing? For one example, I was having like flat, quote unquote, flat stools. That is too much detail, but turns out that was just because of a hemorrhoid, and that can be a sign of colon cancer. So I was doing getting endoscopy because also I have EOE, which is a thing where my throat like kind of reacts to certain food. My esophagus reacts to certain foods, and it gets tough to swallow. So I was getting endoscopies to look at that, and my last one of the year I threw on a colonoscopy because I had already hit my out-of-pocket maximum with my HSA, or the high deductible health plan, and got colonoscopy too, and everything was all clear. So I really didn't need it, but I was like worried. I was like, what the heck is going on with this? I had this weird thing. At one point I had like a sore throat for a couple months, and I eventually saw like an ENT about that because you never know what that might be. And that ended up being nothing. And a lot of things that have all been nothing. The tip for today, though, how to manage an HSA if you have that. So, a few things. First of all, always maximize what you put into an HSA every year. Just like that's inarguable. So if you need to put in like $7,000 a year, you get tax deductions, just do it. Even do things to make sure you're able to do that. So if you trust yourself, even you can use things like a zero interest credit card, like zero interest for a period, because you get offers for that. So if you find you don't have at the end of the year like $5,000 lying around, the last couple months of the year, get a zero interest credit card, put your expenses on that, and put the money into your account, because you'll put $5,000 in and you'll end up getting like $2,000 back. And God forbid if you put too much in, you take it back out, you just take, like, you pay income taxes on it. So it's like, it's the worst case scenario is you just have to move money around twice. Best case scenario, then you use that for medical expenses the next year, and you've now paid yourself. You got a bunch, like, more money back at your tax return, because you put $5,000 in. That's basically giving yourself like $2,000, depending on your salary. The other thing is, if you can afford to not pay yourself back, then you can basically pay yourself back when you're like, 50 years later, and you get interest on the money you put in your HSA. So if you have, like, say, $10,000 HSA and you have $5,000 medical expenses and you just eat it, then that $10,000 you invest it in your HSA. Wait till it grows like $50,000, and then you pay yourself back $5,000, as opposed to pay the $5,000 and invest only $5,000, where that same amount of money will only go up like to $25,000 or something like that over time. Just example in the dollars. But the last thing is also invest money in your HSA, but you also may want to do something like leave a certain amount in cash in your HSA to match what your out-of-pocket maximum is, so that you don't have to, like, sell investments, or you don't get into a situation where your money isn't there if you need to pay yourself back for medical expenses. So those are my tips, at least. That's one of the things I'm definitely doing right, I think, financially, is handling the HSA stuff. Although HSAs kind of suck in terms of what, I think health plans used to be a lot cheaper for people that actually had health insurance. So, say what you will about how things have developed over time. But those are my tips. I think I might actually make a tips playlist here. Go back and find which videos I made tips on. But I like to put that in there. Makes it feel like I'm giving value back to anybody that happens to stop into these videos. So let's call that day 57 in the books.